A lot of what you're going through when it comes to problems in life are not really problems at all. In fact, they're blessings. And you may think that your problems that you're having are actually big problems, or they're really huge problems, or there's some kind of outward external influence that is trying to manipulate you into doing things. And don't get me wrong, there is a global mind control operation happening in real time as we speak by people who want to rob you, want to gaslight you, and want to blind you to the truth. They don't blind you with light, though. They blind you with darkness. Okay, this is not like Socrates' or Plato's allegory of the cave, rather. It's in fact the complete opposite. They want you stuck in the cave. They want you thinking that the shadows on the wall are real, when in fact they're just shadows. And that's all that this whole reality really is at the end of the day. Is it's not really something tangible. Reality isn't something tangible. It's something that you experience. And that's why it's so important and vital for you to trust your own experience. It's important to trust your own intuitions and your own instincts and your own conclusions. I genuinely think and have the firm belief that there is never going to be another person like you ever roaming the earth ever again. And yet you're too busy trying to be like other people to completely harness this God-given power that he bestowed upon you. For what? Like you are not doing this for what? Because you want to be like other people who think that, like you think that these other people know what they're talking about, so you want to be like them, or you take information from them. And it's not to say that there's not some utility in that, for sure, because some people may actually see the truth of reality being set into fruition. But a lot of the times you talk to people and they don't even have themselves. So how in the world do you expect and do you suppose that you're going to perceive reality in a new way when in fact you are no longer experiencing reality? You're experiencing the timeline of somebody else. You're caught up in timelines rather than trying to think about reality. You're trying to think about timelines because you think that you're on the right timeline. But here's the thing. There really is no right timeline. You're either on a timeline with God or you're not. And the thing is that we're all on our own timeline perceiving reality in different ways. And I've cautioned against myself to talk too much about this because there's just too much that is at stake talking about these things. And I want to make sure that I have fully comprehended and assessed as much as I possibly can before I revolutionize this idea, because I'm not sure about you guys, but I've always felt that in some way I'm going to revolutionize the way that people live their lives, or I'm going to just be some punk like everybody else. You know what I mean? Because I genuinely felt that way. Like I'm going to do something so incredible and so amazing and so profound that it's going to shift reality forever. Or I'm going to be a fucking nobody. And that's just the way that I've always felt. I've always felt this greater calling. And I'm sure that if you're watching this, you're resonating with that to some degree, that you felt this greater calling. The thing is I'm so sick of people settling for mediocrity. I'm so sick of seeing people with such great potential settle for mediocrity because they're too afraid to live their life. And I see this time and time again. I see it time and time again. I've seen it for years. I'm not even thinking about anybody specifically. I'm tired of seeing it. Like I go outside, I go to the grocery store, and I see all these fat people that don't care about themselves. They're hunched over. You know, they have no sense of posture to them. They have no sense of presence to them. And then you see people that are clearly, you know, alcoholics or druggies or whatever sometimes. Not very often where I'm at, but I see a lot of fat people every now and again. But But you know what I'm talking about, though. You've seen people that are highly addicted to substances, and it's not really their fault, but it's just, what is the world becoming? It's like the mind control is just on another level, and men are weaker than ever, and more men than ever know this, and they think that they're the exception. That's what boggles my mind. And it's like, you are not the exception. You are just like everybody else. You just think you know things more than the other person. You just think you know things more than that other dude, the average dude out there. You just think you know things. And the reality is a lot of you just don't. You just don't. And I'm not speaking to you specifically. As you know, in my videos, I just have a stream of consciousness in which I am relaying information. I'm not speaking to anybody in particular, but I've had many people tell me that throughout my entirety of doing videos on YouTube and X and such, they feel as though that I'm speaking directly to them, which that's not me. I would just say that that's the spirit flowing through me. That's not me, that's spirit. And so I've always found this sense of, I don't know, this being able to speak to people's hearts in their mind and soul, and people very often tell me this kind of a thing. And yet many oftentimes people will say this and they hate it. They hate the fact that they feel like I'm speaking to them. And I don't really know what to do about that, because that's not, what am I supposed to do? What do you want me to do about that? I'm just here to give a message, and I'm just here to give people the truth. I don't really care that people are trying to establish my character in certain ways. Like, I've even thought about going full anonymous before, but then I realized that being fully anonymous is actually missing the entire point of living through this experience of reality. It's missing the whole point, because if you do this, maybe you won't be first in line, when the mark of the beast comes, for example, right? But the thing is that, how do you really want to live your life? Okay, what exactly do you want to be doing with it? And for me, what I want to be doing is, I want to revolutionize souls. I want to revolutionize psychology and spirituality. And in order to do that, I have to have some kind of sense of being relatable enough, in a sense, to where people can understand what I'm saying, but also being a micro authority in this niche, to the point in which people can understand what I'm saying is based on not just speaking about things, but actual real life experience that I've lived through and that I've attained wisdom from. Because I'm not someone to just live through life hoping for a wish. A lot of people are hoping for wishes, and they're wishing for hopes. And I'm not necessarily like that. Although I'm a realist, and although I'm hopeful for the future, I also believe that we ought to prepare for anything and everything at all times. And we have to calculate exactly what we can do and what we can't do at all times. The thing is that you are an immortal soul. You have to recognize that you are on your own timeline with God. And although we all live in this common sense of life, we are also experiencing the totality of experience all simultaneously. And the perception of reality that we each have is the truth. It is reality. Reality is something that we perceive together. That's really what I've determined, is reality is something that we perceive simultaneously, and that we can share simultaneously. There's a reason why connections can seem so transactional, and yet at the same time they can seem like such a great investment for not only yourself but the other person. Everything really is a transaction at the end of the day. There's a lot of things that are transactions. But the problem is that people think that this is a bad thing. But in fact, remember what I said at the beginning of this video. Some people think that their problems are problems when in fact they're really blessings. The problem of transactional relationships is the blessing. And I know that this may sound counterintuitive to a lot of people out there. They might think, well, but what if I just want someone who wants me for me? It's like, well, then you're living a fantasy, bro. You're living a fantasy. And especially if you think a woman as a man is supposed to love you for you, that's a fantasy. It's just simply a fantasy. And there might be women out there that are capable of doing that, but it doesn't mean they will. Okay, it doesn't mean that they will do so. And there's very much so, I've seen countless times, time and time again, that women will tolerate a man who has ambition but nothing, but they will not tolerate a man with nothing and no ambition. Because a lot of people in our day and age, they are not working to live. They are living to work. And the problem also, which is actually the blessing, is that people perceive themselves as living to work to be righteous. They perceive themselves as living to work to be the sense of authority in themselves as well as other people. And they want to spiritually castrate the people who are not working hard. I don't want to spiritually castrate you, but what I'm here to tell you is if you want your life to change in any way, capacity, or sense, you're going to have to put some work, blood, and sweat into it. I was listening to a song by Mac Miller recently called Rush Hour. And in the song Rush Hour, some line that he says is that the more you do, the less you wait. That is simply a byproduct of spiritual reality. That is simply a natural law. There is no difference between the spiritual reality and spiritual law and natural law as far as I'm concerned. A lot of people who are not awakened, they will think that they are different when in fact they are one and the same. And so we have to analyze truly and fully to the highest degree of understanding in ourselves that the more that we do, the less we're going to have to wait for the blessings to come. It's not to say that work is going to be your salvation, but in order to have a sense of peace and perception and patience and this luminous quality of your life where you feel blissed out. When's the last time you felt true joy? When's the last time you were actually playful? When's the last time you were actually just able to be like you were when you were a child? Recently, I've been doing a lot of sungazing, and it's been very profound as an experience because I used to do it every now and again, but now I've been doing it very, very consistently. And I will say that although I am not advocating for this type of behavior just yet, I will say also that I feel in my spirit this is exactly the kind of profound shift in my mindset, in my spiritual self, that I did when I first started semen retention, when I first started celibacy, and when I first started meditating and praying. All of these first-time spiritual practices that I've been going through in the past 5 to 7 years, all of these are now coming into fruition, and the sun gazing has been an act of true value to my spirit in which I had no clue was even possible. And I will not say just exactly, again, that you should do this. I'm not recommending it just yet because I have yet to see the fullest degree of experiences and totality of experiences that will be accompanied with in this domain of spiritual self-discovery. However, it is also my inclination that there is more to be seen here. There's more to be heard. Today, I was looking at the sun and I realized that the sun was no longer yellow. Okay? Very often we see that the sun is yellow when in fact, like in pictures and all this stuff, right? We see that the sun is yellow. But in fact, when I was staring into the glorious radiance of the sun today, this morning, I saw it was no longer yellow, it was white. And it no longer hurt to look into the sun directly. And this was a profoundly scary experience for me because It was beautiful, don't get me wrong, but it was also terrifying because, in a sense, I know that I'm looking into everlasting light. Every single person that has ever lived or ever will live or ever has lived has looked up and seen this brilliant, great light shining down upon us all every single day without fail for thousands and thousands of years. And who knows how long it's going to be. The Bible says that there is nothing new under the sun. But my question is, what happens if you look into the sun long enough? What happens if you actually look into the sun? Are you actually going to go blind? Because I don't think so. I don't think so. I think it's possible to, for sure. But so far, my sight has only improved. My vigilance has only improved. I am seeing like an eagle, and I am feeling like a bull, and I am strong as an ox, and I'm as wise as an elephant, and my heart is bold enough to be a lion in of itself. So I'm here, grounded, and I'm perceiving my reality, and I'm living my existence in such a way that is such a profound way to view the world and to view the lens of reality without a lens. I'm viewing the lens of reality without a lens. Do you understand what I'm saying here? Do you understand the value that I'm bringing you? Do you understand the kind of perception that you're going to have in order to realize this? Do you understand the level of commitment that you have to have? Do you understand the level of consistency that you have to have? Do you understand what I am telling you? Do you understand that there is more to you than this material world? Do you understand that there is some powerful, shining light wanting to emanate through you so that you can be that light on the hill that Jesus Christ talks about? Do you understand what I'm saying to you? Do you understand? If you do, I want to see it in the comments. I understand. That's all you'll need to say. I understand. Because when you are understanding, that is when you're capable of love. When you understand something, you're capable of loving it. That's why so many people hate. Because you can't really have hate without love, and you can't really have love without hate. People who hate you understand you, and that's why they hate. They are confused fans, right? That's the best way to think about haters, is they are confused fans. And your haters are going to be eyeing you down like a hawk, but in reality, they don't have the eyesight of a hawk, because they're not sun-gazing, They're not sun-gazing. We're going to be sun-gazing. Maybe. Maybe you are, maybe you're not. Who knows? But the point is that we're going to have something electrifying that is flowing through us. And we have the totality of our awareness and our consciousness that there is more to this life than meets the eye. We understand that we are under spiritual attack each and every day. And we understand that there are literal people. I don't know if I can say this on YouTube, but it rhymes with metaphiles. There are metaphiles who are trying to globally gaslight you into existence, where you are to the point in which you no longer know what's real. And the thing with AI, because I'm working with AI almost day in and day out at this point, and so I feel as though it's becoming incumbent upon myself to demonstrate how to see AI for what it is, because a lot of people will look at images nowadays and not know whether or not it's AI or not. I think that it's going to get to a point to where it's going to be pretty obvious that it's AI until it's not. That's just going to be the way that it's going to be with AI. AI is advancing so quickly. I had an AI class in the Regal Change Academy, and I had to stop it because by the time I would make updates within a month or two, all of the updates that I made, it's not like it wasn't bad information, it was just outdated. Okay, after a month, this information was outdated. Okay, this tells me right now that this is only going to increase by the day. If we are in 2026, AI, it's not coming for your jobs. It's coming for your future. It's coming for your sense of reality. And you have to be aware of this at every single step of the way. Otherwise, you will lose. You will lose yourself. You might have everything in this material world possible, and yet You yourself, you're not even on your own timeline with God. You're on somebody else's timeline, and you are living a timeline of the collective consciousness, living it unconsciously. So you best believe that we are obligated. We are spiritually obligated, and it is our sacred duty to be the best versions of ourselves. Listen to your gut. Okay, think about your organs for a second. Have you ever noticed that your organs are almost like storage units to some degree for certain information or for certain things? Like you are, in of a sense, you are your body. You are the breath. You are all of these things. And yet simultaneously you're none of these things. It's a paradox. But you have to look at yourself to be as a storage unit of information and an electromagnetic satellite, because that's exactly what your body and your mind is. Okay, we are going deep into here, and again, if you're not understanding what I'm saying by this point, I probably ought to have said this at the very beginning, but if you're not understanding what I'm saying and you want to leave negative comments because you think that what I'm saying is outlandish or whatever, just go somewhere else. Okay, just go somewhere else. We don't really care to have you guys around here. Okay, we want to be in a state of peace and love above all other options. However, it does not mean that we're not capable of being the godlike savages necessary to rip you apart if need be. And I'm not saying that as a threat. I'm just saying that that's what we're capable of. So, with all that being said, I hope this message was useful and insightful for you. Sign up for a one-on-one session with me or the Godlike Master Initiation program that I have. And if you would like, join the free tier of the Regal Change Academy, or there's also the premium tier in the Regal Change Academy. The free tier gives you access to the community posts on the main page. The premium tier gives you access to that, as well as the group calls and the classes. The group calls and the classes are really the creme de la creme of the Regal Change Academy. So if you want to learn more about that, check out the links in the description box below. You can also purchase my book on Amazon, The Book of Oldishness, and that'll give you a great insight for people who want to really explore the depths of your own consciousness and see what your consciousness is truly capable of. With all that being said, peace. Until next time.